pleased to organize today's event and discuss with Commissioner Gabriel and members of the European Parliament about why Europe needs an innovation area. In a moment, I will hand over to Mrs. Carvalho to speak the welcome, and then Commissioner Gabriel, she will give her presentation to which a few MEPs will react, and also we will have the viewpoints of two managers of innovation ecosystems from the stakeholder side, from TU Delft and EIT KIC Raw Materials. So, Rasa, please, you can speak the welcome and give your input.
Good morning. Thank you, Roland. Dear Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, dear colleagues, dear friends of the Knowledge for Innovation, it's a pleasure and an honor for me to share this webinar today in the presence of Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, and thank you very much for your finding the time to be with us discussing such an important initiative that is the European innovation area. We have as main priorities for the next few years set by our President von der Leyen and support by the European Parliament, the transition to greener and a more digitalized economy and society. And research and innovation are the basis for all these transitions. Without breakthrough technologies, will be probably impossible to reach some of the ambitious targets that we have set for ourselves. This really stressed the importance of research, from fundamental research to innovation. Talking about the importance of research and innovation, I would like to congratulate you, Commissioner, for the recent success of the vaccines. Is a fantastic story that we need to tell to our voters and to all the Europeans and around the world. That is these recent developments with the vaccines for COVID-19. Two of the most advanced vaccines, the BioNTech and the CureVac, were supported by Horizon 2020 and by the EIB, so by the European budget. In the case of BioNTech is a fantastic example because they start with a fundamental research project financed by ERC for a different application for cancer, but using the same system, and they end up developing the first vaccine for COVID-19. So is the example that we need to invest in fundamental research, the importance of ERC, and the importance of developing the whole chain of innovation until the application, like it is the case of these two vaccines. This shows us that to be resilient or autonomous, to have a strategic autonomy that is now so in fashion, is to invest in knowledge. If we have knowledge, we are autonomous. This is the best way. So, Commissioner Gabriel, you are in the center of the college because you are the one that in your portfolio find the solution for what can be the solution for this awful crisis that we are passing through. But despite of these results, very promising results that involve the whole chain of innovation, much remains to be done. We have established the European Research Area. We have a European Education Area that was set by first in an intergovernmental manner, but it became also a community initiative. Many steps were performed already in the ERA and in the European Higher Education Area and Education Area, but of course they need to be constantly updated, and they need and so you have a new communication on the European Research Area, recent communication. But they need something to bind them. And this thing to bind them is exactly innovation. European innovation area will give consistency to the two other ones, and it will complete the knowledge triangle. So in the end, you can have what we can call an European knowledge area. For many years, until recent, it was a common understanding that science it should be dealt at European level and global, but innovation is a more a local or regional phenomenon. Uh, However, with the complexity of the challenge in front of us, this is not the case anymore. And we have understood that at European level, and because of understanding the complexity and the need to have breakthroughs and the need to have innovation very close to the research development, we have created the European Innovation Council. And for the same reasons, we have now to deal with innovation at European and sometimes at the global level. Again, the vaccines are an example where the innovation part, the more application needed to be done at a global level. So uh, we have all the arguments to create a European innovation area because innovation is also an European issue. Um, for that, you can count on the Parliament and you can count on the European Institute of Technology. Because the European Institute of Technology is very well positioned, being an institute that covers the knowledge triangle, to support you in the development of this new concept of the European innovation area. We are here today to hear from you, Commissioner, your ideas about the European innovation area, but I'm sure that you also have some expectations towards what we think the MEPs and the other members of the Knowledge for Innovation, our inputs on this matter. I will give you just two, and I look forward to listen from you and from our colleagues and the other people attending this event. Uh, these two are the following. I personally believe that a very important component of the innovation is the ecosystem. So, what makes the system friendly for innovators, from the existence of infrastructure, the reduction of administrative burden, simplification of the rules, the mutual recognition of the different frameworks. So all the what we call the innovation ecosystem that we really need to tackle on the European innovation area. The second point that will be crucial, and I heard that you were before the meeting discussing on this, is the how to attract and retain more brains and talents to work in Europe and give them conditions. And we have discussed in the past a lot on these topics, but now we have an extra problem on the attracting and keeping the brains and talents. We want to draw your attention, and I'm sure my colleagues will support me on this, to the fact that especially young researchers and innovators have been the ones more affected by the present crisis. And especially women, because they have to combine with a lot of other tasks during the pandemic. They were severely affected because they have more difficult access to the facilities, to the laboratories where they have their work, if they do experimental work, more difficult because they are not exposed internationally. Something very important in your early career to be exposed, physically exposed in conferences, in international fora, to discuss your results, to listen from the others. So for someone that is quite established, the Zoom like we are having today is probably enough. But for a young researcher, the this is not enough. So they are having problems, some of them even thinking or even leaving their careers or breaking for some time, and that is very difficult to restart. So we ask the Commissioner to have some specific measures in order to help them and to remedy this situation. But Commissioner, let's hear from you now and after from our colleagues and the members of Knowledge for Innovation. And I just want to finalize that we can count on Knowledge for Innovation and each member to test your ideas, for us to provide your inputs, to have a constant dialogue. And we are a privileged platform involving many MEPs, stakeholders. We have something in common. We all love research and innovation, and we are all good citizens. So, Commissioner, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear Mariya, dear members of the European Parliament, Lina. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to congratulate Knowledge for Innovation Forum for having organized this session on the European innovation area. Yes, Mariya, you said it very clearly. That's always my first question, how to convince our innovators that Europe is their home. And you gave the example of BioNTech and CureVac. Fortunately, we were able to be there in the critical moment, in the right moment, but believe me, it's not easy. That means that we have a lot of work ahead of us. So that's why, for me, first, my starting point is that I would like really to see what is the big picture for innovation in Europe. One thing, one paradox, that as Europe, we are very, very well known as a leader in research publications in international journal. But at the same time, European startups have difficulties to become global leaders. And I think that here there is a huge potential that we need to use, because it's quite unacceptable to see some numbers. For instance, Europe has 52 startups with a valuation of more than 1 billion euro, the so-called unicorns, and it only represents 12% of the total of the unicorns in the world, while US and China represent 40% each. So I think that to tackle these challenges, we cannot continue business as usual. You need to take a different approach towards this challenge. And that's why thank you very much, Mariya, for raising since the beginning the need of an ecosystem approach in which innovation may come from many different places, from researchers, of course, but also from university graduates, students, or even any member of the society. And here I'm thinking about two examples. When you took, for example, Spotify or UiPath, they have been created by university students who decided to follow their passion instead of, in some cases, finishing their university's degrees. And the other example is the hackathon that we have organized in April, because when you see the 2,000 ideas brought by citizens, brought by regions, by member states, it's quite impressive, because the majority of the winning teams were composed of citizens with a great idea and teammates without outstanding technical skills to implement it. So I think that here we need really to unlock the potential of talent in every region, and that means that we need more proactive and more targeted measures. That's why my second point is, what's about the current situation of the European innovation programs? Because actually we have a plethora, a big number of European programs dedicated to innovation, but we don't have a European framework for innovation to provide consistency and coherence among all these European programs. For instance, innovation represents 30% of the total cohesion policy programs 2014-2020. Innovation is an important component of COSME and, of course, Horizon Europe. Besides, many other programs also have innovation actions, such as Erasmus or even the Common Agricultural Policy, through the European Innovation Platform for Agriculture and Rural Development. So I think that we need really to see how we can create a coherent framework in order to increase the effectiveness of all these resources invested in innovation across Europe. Because despite all these innovation programs, the current situation of innovation in Europe is far from what I would like it to be. And I'm particularly concerned here with the innovation divide in Europe. The gap in innovation performance among member states is larger than the gap in any other economic indicator. And innovation ecosystem approach can contribute to reduce this innovation divide, because that will allow to include the private innovative businesses and startups into the EU approach for innovation. Because allow me here to give the example of Central and Eastern European countries. They don't have a strong research systems, but they have vibrant innovation ecosystems driven by the private innovative businesses and startups. And that was demonstrated in our community innovation survey in the last European Innovation Scoreboard. We have excellent examples here, but we need to provide them coherence and consistencies. Another important thing is, since the beginning, to consider the European innovation area in synergy with European education area and European research area. You mentioned it, Mariya, because we have a lot of common elements, because I think that we need here to see how exactly we can implement European innovation area, but addressing the challenges of innovation divide, to work with the regions and to assure the skills and the brain circulation. And that's why here I would like to underline how important it is since the beginning, when we talk about European innovation area, to work together with our regions. 5 months ago, together with the president of the Committee of the Regions, we decided to have a joint action plan for the next 2 years. Next week, we'll announce this officially, but our purpose is really to ensure that regions are taken into account in all these policies under my portfolio, and in that case, to see what are the specific actions that we can take together with our regions in order to develop, to support innovation ecosystems across all regions in Europe. And I think that in addition to the collaboration with the regions, definitely skills are one of the key components. And that's why we really need that access to talent is one of the most important factors. I always have this number in head. 54% of the experienced founders, when deciding where to locate their startups, are taking this into consideration. And that's why my question here is that we need to build synergies with the European education area and with the Digital Education Action Plan, because we have many strengths. We have 6 million developers, more than in the United States, but we don't have so much products and services. We have our strengths in some breakthrough technologies. I'm thinking here about artificial intelligence. I'm thinking about quantum. We'll have hydrogen. But the question is really how to pool our resources and how really to help our talents. That means that besides regions, higher education institutions needs also to become innovators' factories. And we need to assure that young Europeans, they will have direct path from education to research, from the classroom to creating innovative business. And here I would like to discuss together with you the role of our European Universities Alliances, because we have decided this time with 41 alliances and more than 280 higher institutions to work on a new approach, challenge-based approach, where since the beginning, private sector with public institutions and civil society and regions are involved in order to work together on multidisciplinary approach and giving as flexibility as possible in order to attract our innovators and to give them a chance to develop their ideas in Europe. So I think that in addition to the European education area, of course, we need to take into consideration the European research area. And here, maybe a special attention to one of the novelties in our new European research area, that's the common technological roadmaps between academia and industry. We need to ensure that startups and innovative businesses are considered in the definition of this roadmap upfront. That's something new that will be up to us to see how we can build synergies. The same synergies with Horizon Europe and Digital Europe program, because both have good opportunities for innovators in facilitating access to data and access to computing power for testing new innovation ecosystem products and services. So that's why the future data platforms, including public open data, I think that that will become important tools for innovators, as data are the blood of many of the new innovative companies. At the same time, you know that this topic is very close to my heart, but let's think more about the European high-performance computing, because we need to offer computing power for startups to be able rapidly, not only to have access, but to test their ideas, their products, because normally that's not always the case. And last but not least, Pillar 3 in Horizon Europe. It's a plethora of new instruments that we have at the disposal of our innovators. The role of the European Innovation Council, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. I think that during our R&I days, when we signed this letter of intent to cooperate, it's a very good example that we can continue and we can send some strong messages to our innovators. And here I'm thinking about the European ecosystem, innovation ecosystems, another element. The question, it will be really how, with the framework of European innovation area, we can use the strength of every one of these elements without overlapping and inventing hot water, proposing something new. But that's my invitation now up to you. It's really to discuss together. You can see during this meeting, what I don't want is to see that I try to impose some ideas. No, I'm here to share with you the first questions, to identify what are already the tools at our disposal, and how step by step we can really build something which is so much needed in Europe. We have European research area, we have European education area, we are always talking about the knowledge triangle, so it's really big time to have a European innovation area. And that means that we need to do it in a co-creation process, and that means that we'll have many other opportunities to discuss this topic, but I will stop here, thanking you again on this possibility to share some views with you, and of course, I stay very open for your opinions, critiques, ideas, and remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gabriel, for this very comprehensive overview of our current situation and for your excitement about making Europe an innovation leader and becoming stronger in innovation. I think we badly need it, and the current circumstances show it more than ever. Now we have a few members of the European Parliament that will react and give their ideas. I would like to start with Lina Galvez. She is a vice chair in the ITRE committee. She's from Spain, from the Socialist Party, and she's also a university professor. She's very, very supportive of knowledge for innovation. And please, Lina.
Okay, thank you very much, Roland. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much, Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, for your words, our words of future. Mariya Gabriel, thank you for organizing that, and hello to everybody else. I was really listening very happily, I will say, about this European innovation area. We should be a European and knowledge-based innovation area, of course, and all the links and everything. I will just focus in one aspect I've been asked for, and I am very happy to do on that. The commissioner was saying that we cannot continue business as usual. And I will start from this part. And one thing we cannot continue is to see so few women and in innovation and in innovation ecosystem. And we have to really to think how we could improve that, how we could change that. I think that is very important to address this lack of women in innovation and to include perspective that increase women investors, entrepreneurs, and in innovation ecosystems, because we have to really to correct this gender bias. For that, I think we need to challenge concepts such as the proper concept of innovation, leadership, and success that are still androcentric, meaning that the male experience, the male place is considered the universal. So we will never fit there because it is not our experience, it's not our world. So we really need to change it. And also we probably need to add to this twin transition we are talking all the time, which is so important, the green and the digital transition, a third transition, a transition towards a new organization of care, a kind of care deal, because unless we tackle that women, we have still the social mandate of care and not that much men, it will be difficult. We will incorporate in all of these places in a non-segregated and an equal way. So we really need to, and now with the pandemic, the care is so important. We really need to put care at the same level. As I was saying before, I think it's very important we clarify the meaning of innovation itself. Nowadays, it is mainly understood as technology-related initiatives. And innovation is not technology. It's a lot about technology, but it's not only technology. And if we still think in innovation equal technology, this is having a negative impact on women, because as we know, there is still a big gender gap on STEM, and especially in the digital and especially the technological side. However, there are many women on innovation in many other aspects, but it should be considered innovation and funded as such. Of course, we really need, I agree completely with the Commission, we really need to work also in education and so on. And we also need to change the idea of leadership and the very notion of success, what success means. There is still a clear link between leadership and authority in a male way. We are seeing now every day in these experts committees, we are seeing in every single country, or experts that are called for media, newspapers, television, and most of them are still men. This link between authority and men. So we really need to look at that and to think what really means success, what is leadership. And it is clear on that representation matters, and that the role models and mentors have a real impact on how people, in this case, girls and women, imagine what they can do and who they can be. In order to truly combat gender segregation and stereotyping, we need, as I said, this new organization of care, because we are all the time speaking about women being untapped in innovation potential, but man, they are untapped in care potential, and now we need it in this pandemic as well. For that, we also need to work with girls, but also with boys, and to start changing this mindset. In the Parliament, we have a strong group of members of the European Parliament from different political groups that I'm sure will be happy to be involved in the ideas and initiatives discussed in this debate. And now I speak for myself, at least, that you can count of me to push this agenda forward in the Parliament and beyond, because I'm convinced that when having diversity in innovation and technology, including female talent, the impact on the population will be greater and better. We need more women in innovation for a better, fairer, and inclusive future, for breaking silos, increased connectivity, especially cooperation, because I think it's very important. We compete too much and probably we need to cooperate much. Remove segregation in a mission-driven innovation model. Investment should follow European Union values, strategies, and need, and equality is one of our main values and also one of our main deals. So make it that it will be one of our main strategies. So thank you very much, and I count with my efforts for this goal. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Lina.
Roland, I don't know, how do you see that? I can react immediately to every member of the parliament, or I will wait? Because I would like to react immediately.
Okay.
For me, it's
Yeah,
fine
no.
because
Okay, in order to have
to
really
move to
a real
another
interactive discussion, thank you very much, Lina, because believe me, that was one of the questions that I wanted really to raise in this discussion. Count on my firm support on this, especially because now we have examples. What I did the last 5 months, together with the European Innovation Council, when I counted the number of projects funded by the European Innovation Council in the first 2 calls, I discovered that there is only 7% of women-led companies. So what I introduced first, that was to oblige to have at least 25% of women accessing the interviews. That means that excellence, merit will be always there. Do you know what are our last numbers, the last 2 weeks? From 7 to 34% in 5 months. Now I just given the instruction of my services. It's not anymore enough 25%. Next step is 40% at least women-led companies to the interviews. Second, because that means access to funding. We need more women in the evaluation bodies, in the decision-taking units. And we decided with the European Innovation Council to take this on board. I will have another initiative now that will be the Tech Start Women initiative. I would like to propose to double the number of women-led startups in Europe, together with the European Innovation Council. So very soon, in only a few weeks, we are finalizing this. We'll announce this. Important role here, third element of European Innovation and Technology Institute. In the Digital Education Action Plan, I paid a special attention with a separate chapter for more girls in artificial intelligence, in STEM. What we propose now is to have 40,000 trainings with the European Innovation and Technology Institute on machine learning, data analytics, blockchain, quantum, 45% girls and women. It's fixed, it's already in our document. So I think that here we should continue to give more visibility to these good examples and to assure a coherent approach, especially because I think that one of the challenges, it will be really to encourage more women to be candidate for projects for the Green Deal. Green technologies, there is a huge potential. Actually, we have an open call, the Green Deal call, 1 billion, and we already started to receive excellent projects for women with a huge potential in the aviation sector, in the energy sector. So I think that that's why we need this European innovation area in order to have this aspect as key, not only in one chapter, but everywhere horizontally, promoting men and women, of course, but unlocking this potential because it is here and we already have good examples. So count on me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You will be both with us at the European Innovation Summit because we have a whole strand on women-led VC funds, women-led startups and businesses. And on the 9th of December, Commissioner will be with us and also Mrs. Carvalho and Mrs. Munoz when we will have some awards for startups and women-led VCs. So on the 9th of December, we will have the whole day great women. We already have a big group together, because we started already last year with a breakfast in the European Parliament, which was very successful, very stimulating. And since then we move on. We have had several preparatory meetings with the EIB, EIF. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this event at the Innovation Summit. Thank you very much. I would like to pass the floor to Victor Negrescu. He is a Romanian member of the European Parliament, a vice chair of the Culture and Education Committee. He was Minister for European Affairs during the Romanian Council presidency, or he prepared the European Council presidency of Romania. He's also a passionate entrepreneur, and in particular in the digital area. Please, Victor, take the floor.
Thank you so much, Roland, for the invitation, and Mariya for organizing this. I think it's a wonderful occasion, of course, to discuss with the Commissioner very, very, very important topics regarding innovation. And I have to underline since the beginning that Knowledge for Innovation is a very active network on innovation issues. So we are strong supporters, of course, of having something that you support, I know a lot, this pact for research and innovation in Europe, and giving clear direction on what needs to happen at European level in order, of course, to make sure that everyone moves in the same time, in the same direction at a faster pace. And of course, you often say that we need to invest in innovation across Europe, in research across Europe. And of course, this needs to happen now. And of course, your call to increase the GDP allocation for research and innovation, I think, is something that needs to be supported by us from the European Parliament, but also by the industry as a whole. We need to invest more, and we need to allocate more resources for that. And we need to invest NGOs, local stakeholders, companies, and decision makers in this process. And of course, this is not an easy task. We noticed that in the negotiation on the Horizon funds. I know that you supported a lot the big allocation that we supported also from the European Parliament for Horizon Europe program. Unfortunately, we didn't achieve that specific goal, but at least we achieved to obtain more than what it was supported by the Council. So the latest increase is an important increase that was negotiated in the last discussions with the Council, but we still need to continue and potentially come up with new initiatives like the one that we have managed to do on the research on coronavirus, where we convince member states to contribute as well, independently of the EU budget. So I'm a strong supporter on that, and I hope that we can come up with new initiatives. The specific element that I want to underline today is an issue that you underline, but I want to support you on this and hopefully hear more from you, is the connection between education, research, and innovation. Because of course, to have innovation, we need to invest in education. We supported from our committee the allocation from the Recovery and Resilience Facility. We made this recommendation to allocate 10% of that facility for education. I think it's important again to create an ecosystem, having the innovation area within it, having the European education area within that, and really create stronger and more efficient synergies. And I was wondering, of course, if you can give us more details on that and how we can be supportive of that. Us from the European Parliament, I also see the speakers from the industries that are working with us on that, to see how we can create, of course, a united block, a united environment, an efficient environment for education, research, and innovation, and make Europe a leader in this field. Because, yeah, we are not a leader. We have to recognize the reality, but we can become a leader. We have a strong potential, and for that, we need seeing leaders like yourself in this direction, creating especially the solution that will guide us in this direction.
Thank you, Victor. You should unmute yourself, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. As always, it's really pleasant for me to listen to your ideas, to your vision, and I only confirm we are on the same line. Yes, we all noticed that was not an easy, the negotiation on Horizon Europe and Erasmus Plus budget. That means that we should continue to speak with one voice. For me, that's the main challenge. But if you'd like to continue to convince our member states to invest in education, research, and innovation, that means that it's time really, as you said it, to identify some new big projects where, because action is taken at European level, all our member states will feel the difference. And for me, it's since the beginning very clear. We need to work in close cooperation with education, research, innovation. And when I think about education, of course, that my first examples are coming from the Digital Education Action Plan and the European Education Area. In the European Education Area, I already mentioned our initiative with the European Universities Alliances. Remember what's happened. When I became commissioner, I discovered that European University Alliances was made only by DG EAC. And since the beginning, I shared with them how important it is to encourage our universities to work with innovators, with startups, with private companies, in order to have research and innovation integrated in the curricular since the beginning. And that's why, as a pilot project, we decided to allow every alliance to receive 2 million euros more from the initial amount decided by DGAC together from Horizon Europe, in order to encourage them to have research and innovation since the beginning. And the reaction was great, very positive. That means that we need really to not to work in silo, we need to stay very united. When we talk about Digital Education Action Plan, of course, here I'm thinking about our proposal to have a European Digital Education Hub, because the question is not to have one central entry point, but to have this place in all our member states, in every member state, to have this place where education, research, innovation can join, can elaborate common materials, can identify common actions. And that's why here it's very closely linked to two projects that I would like to see in the recovery and resilience facilities. And that will be my proposal during the education summit with our ministers, 10th of December. Thank you, Victor. You will be with us. I think that it's time to identify 2-3 big projects where, thanks to the recovery and resilience facilities, we can achieve things in a different way. That's why I have at least one idea. Why not to create a European Digital Education Cloud? Because without this data space, that will be difficult on one side to preserve the uniqueness of our educations and our values, our principles, but at the same time, we need this data and make them available for our innovators, because we have huge potential here. So it's, for me now, that's why the next few weeks are so crucial. We need to identify these big ideas in order to convince our member states, because, to be very honest, I don't believe that only by saying that it's important to invest 10%, we are leaving them too much marge de maneuver. We need maybe to stay more focused on what is achievable at European level, what is the added value, and what are the concrete benefits for our citizens. And I think that here we'll have more chances to succeed, especially because with new technologies, with education, it's a very strong signal for innovators, for businesses, and for our researchers. So we need to establish these paths. As I already said it in my introductory remarks, we need to consider the different paths to the innovation, and that means that we need to establish very concrete links and concrete projects.
Thank you very much. I would like to hand over to Mr. Marinescu. He is also from Romania, an MEP from the EPP. He's a member of the Transport and Tourism Committee and a substitute of ITRE. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, dear Commissioner. Glad to see you again, and dear colleagues and dear participants. The question is why we need the innovation, because we have high-level requirements in this moment. If we are speaking only about 55% reduction or 60% reduction, as the Parliament voted, it's clear that we need tools to reach this target. And these tools cannot be other than technologies. There are also other measures that could be seen, for example, in transport, because you said that I'm in transport committee, could be the CES2+, but this is only a very small part of the reduction of emissions. So we need new technologies. We need innovations. So I think that we can slow down a little bit. Maybe somebody will not like what I want to say, but to slow down a little bit the so-called collaborative research or basic research, how it was called before, and now to focus on innovation or real results on technologies that could be applied immediately and help to decrease emissions. So this is my my reason that I support a lot innovation. I think that Horizon, it's a very good tool. There are, in my opinion, there is a lot of money there, but let's see how it will be distributed. Because if we distribute only to universities, for example, to be very clear, is not the way, or more to the universities and less to the practical side, I don't think that it will go in the good direction. So Mrs. Commissioner knows very well my always question, what about the JUs? What about the European partnership? I succeeded to see a proposal, a leaked proposal, because you are working in behind the closed doors. Proposal of the decision of the Council. This is other thing that I don't like it at all. So the Parliament will not be involved in this. A decision of the European Council regarding the JUs, and of course without allocation of funds, of financing. So I think that we should focus a lot in this kind of partnerships in this moment, especially now during the crisis. We need a partnership between the public money and private money. And this construction, the JUs, and also the other types of partnership agreements are very good for this. And there we can focus on results. We can focus to what we need: emissions, decrease of emissions, and decarbonization, and digital. And we can have really results to reach a target in 2030. Could be, I don't know, 55, could be 50, could be 60, doesn't matter. But this is the way to do it. Otherwise, we shall discuss a lot about, and we shall not have results. The Commission study with 55%, which is a study that is bringing some arguments that maybe we can reach 55, is not proving that we are able to reach 55, is not speaking about jobs. Almost nothing. There are, I don't know, 20 times the word jobs mentioned there. We need to think also in this. Innovation means also new technologies, new jobs. That's my thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to react?
Thank you very much, Marian. On my side, two things, because I fully agree with you. First, when you talk the need really to have more money for innovation, allow me just to ask you to continue to raise this issue with our member states, because what's happened during our last council, before now the agreement in the last week with the Parliament, that was the firm support from member states to transfer 200 million euros from the European Innovation Council to Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions. I guess it's a very good message for our young researchers. But that was a majority of member states that supported that. So that means that on one side, we are saying we need to invest money in innovation, especially because with the European Innovation Council, we have two instruments. On one side, the Pathfinder, from the idea to the product, but immediately and for the first time, we are investing directly in accelerator mechanism where we can rapidly scale and create markets with products and services. And we have very encouraging results, but that was the position of our member states. And I think that we need really to continue to address this issue. The second point on partnerships, I fully agree. What we need is really to have impact-oriented partnerships. And that's why we already reduced the number of partnerships. Remember, now we have 120, we'll have 49. And what we have to see is, of course, the distribution between the different clusters with some limits imposed by the European Parliament about our budget. But we are finalizing these negotiations, and it's not working in closed doors. The Parliament Teacher Committee with the rapporteurs of Horizon, they are all aware how the work is going on, and we are in the final stage. So that's why thank you for your message. It's very important when we talk about partnerships to talk about impact-oriented partnerships, to have more efficient partnerships. And of course, I count on the European Parliament not only to have reactions after when the final number will be announced, but to assure the real follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to give the floor to Mariya for a short comment. Paula, can we unmute or I see you're still muted, Mariya. If not, I will continue maybe, and you can come back with your question or comment. What you just said about, well, the balance between investment in basic research and in innovation, it reminded me 2 years ago, we went with a group of members of European Parliament to Silicon Valley, and we visited all the big labs of all the big platforms, but we also went to Stanford University, and we had a presentation from a professor for entrepreneurship, and I remember as if it were today, he said, "I don't understand you Europeans. You put all your focus on science. Why don't you put the focus much more on innovation and on business and stop this?" So, I mean, we, Knowledge for Innovation, we are not at all against science, but the more we can do for innovation, the better. So,
the question is how to find this right balance and how really to support innovation by preserving our strengths with the European fundamental research, because we need European Research Council, we need frontier research if you'd like really to anticipate, because no one knows what are the next technologies in 10 years, but we need to invest definitely in a targeted manner in innovation, because we need that more than ever.
Well, I think our next speaker, Tim van der Hagen, the rector and president of the TU Delft University, he's quite well placed to say something about how to go from science and research to innovation, because TU Delft is also running several incubators and very active. They have a maker space. I have been visiting it. It's really impressive. So please, Tim, take the floor.
Thank you very much for your kind words, and thank you for having me in this discussion. I would like to start by saying that I fully support and strongly agree with everything that has been said by Commissioner Gabriel. In fact, I have nothing to add, so I could stop here, but I won't do that. And also that your enthusiasm and energy and drive really stimulates all of us. So thank you very much for that. Indeed, we have to readjust our compass in Europe and to make sure that we do not return to the society and the economy that we used to have before the pandemic. I think it's time to realize that sustainability is more important, well-being, social aspects. We should lower or decrease our dependence on foreign countries. And we have the tools and ingredients to do so, but only if we team up together. Only in a European context. And in my view, innovation is one of the engines to make this happen. The competition from China and USA is getting stronger and stronger, is enormous, I could say. And the worst thing that we can do is that we do not act as a European country, if I may call it like that. as European society. We must realize that with this new presidency in the US will become more attractive for top talent than we used to have the last 4 years. And this means that it will become more difficult for us as a university to attract top scientists, top researchers, top innovators, and also to keep them in Europe or in the Netherlands. So that we have to make Europe really attractive to top talent. I would like to say a few words about the role of universities in the creation of innovation ecosystems. Modern universities have transformed from what you could say an academic pillar into a mission-oriented innovation leaders. Our strategic framework is entitled Impact for a Better Society. And our mission is threefold: to educate skilled human capital, in our case, the next generation of engineers, to create scientific and technological breakthroughs, and to bring all of that, so results from research and the people, into the market and into society. And we do that by changing our campus from an academic campus into what we call an innovation ecosystem. Nowadays, we have 245 companies working on our campus. We do not work by order of companies, we work together with them. It's really intertwined. So startups, spin-offs, large companies, research centers, universities, and so on, all together on our campus. And we'll keep on doing that. So in that sense, we are system integrators, where all the ingredients come together and all the TRLs come together. So not only fundamental research, but only the next phases of innovation. Also, entrepreneurship is strongly supported in our university. Indeed, like you said, Ronald, in education, but also via incubators and equity firms. So what do I mean with innovation ecosystems? We have a couple of them on energy, on quantum, on mobility, on health, on robotics, on life sciences, and so on. But also these ecosystems are intertwined. We don't have separate regions. No, it's all happening there, and that's, let's say, a fuzzy or a busy, beehive almost of people and cooperation. I would like to stress one or two of those. One could be and you're well aware of that, Mariya Gabriel, is the quantum ecosystem in Delft. Started as a very fundamental scientific approach, perhaps 15 or 20 years ago. That's true. But in 2014, we started QTech, a cooperation of the Applied Research Center of the Netherlands, the TU Delft, Microsoft, and Intel, and now with a lot of small startups and so on. And there you see that it's not an innovation chain. We don't start with TRL 1 and then go our way up to TRL 9. No, it's all happening at the same time. So we have fundamental research, we have scientific progress, and at the same time we have business development, and we're talking about IP. And this at an European level. That's important, but it's also important to make choices in Europe and to benefit from strong hotspots that we have. This is the hotspot, it could be the hotspot of quantum in Europe. A similar thing for life sciences and for robotics. Robotics, we call it Robo Valley in Delft. We have dozens of companies cooperating with us in the same building. If you talk with those people and you ask them, who is your employer? Some people do not even know that. They only know we are working on the next generation of robotics. And I think that's the way that it should be. We benefit strongly from Europe, from Horizon Europe, and we hope for the best, of course, for the next framework program. And perhaps the last thing that I could say is that we see some difficulties in scaling up from synergy programs to these ecosystems. There is really what we could call a difficult valley. How do we scale up from, let's say, a disciplinary cooperation to this field lab approach and then towards the full ecosystem? Final word is that we are happy to host a Knowledge for Innovation event in Delft, in fact, on December 8 and on December 9. December 9 is about synthetic cell, and Mariya Gabriel is hosting it. So thank you very much for that. And you're all invited to join that event. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Mariya, would you like to react?
Just to say thank you very much, Tim. I like very much the expression readjust our compass, and I like very much that we have to see really universities as a vibrant ecosystems, and I fully agree. Count on my support for quantum and robotics. I will continue to follow that very closely, and in our cluster digital in the next Horizon Europe, that will be one of the key teams that we continue to work. But I like very much, and that will be something new for me. We need really to think how really to pass from synergy programs to ecosystems.
Exactly.
And I think that the elements that you put forward are very strong. Now the question is really to use the good examples like yours in order to encourage others and to achieve critical mass, because it's great that we have all these good examples. We have those hotspots everywhere. But my question is really how to scale up and how to create a critical mass in order to affirm a common European leadership. And that will be one of the questions.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Our last speaker,
Can I comment
Schafer.
now?
Yeah,
Yep.
we hear you.
Yes, thank you. I didn't want to unmute. It's just a comment to what Mr. Marinescu has said of the role of the Parliament on the partnerships. Of course, in the public-to-public, we have co-decision, and on the public-private, we have only an opinion. But like it was in Horizon 2020, we did like an agreement with the package. And we have also a word to say on the budget itself, very important one. And we had there was no difference at the time to the ones that we did, that we were co-decision on the public-public partnerships and the public-private, because we all agree between the rapporteurs and the Commission and the Council that our voice will be equally heard in all the partnerships. So I look forward the same kind of agreement so that the Parliament can always, it's in the good way, our comments and to improve the partnerships. So I just want to and I count with Mr. Marinescu and all the colleagues, and also to propose this to the Council and to the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Grasa. Our last speaker is Bernd Schafer. He's the CEO of EIT KIC Raw Materials, but he's also managing the recently established European Materials Alliance. Alliance and area and ecosystem, I think all of this goes well together, but the EIT KICs as such are already representing innovation ecosystems. So please, Bernd, your contribution.
Yes, thank you very much, Roland. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear Commissioner Gabriel, thanks for having me here. Indeed, I would like to speak about the Raw Materials Alliance a lot, as this is really on my everyday agenda now. But I think one of the topics I would like to highlight is clearly sustainability. And I think we have many things in Europe we can build on in the context of what just has been said. And we are leading here, so let's just make sure that we are matching the competitive edge. And I think there are competitive challenges on all levels, and certainly speed, simplicity, efficiency, and change willingness are key to success here. So next to building on synergies across ecosystems and regions, change, speed, and traction count. I fully agree to and with Commissioner Mariya Gabriel on the need for a common coherent innovation strategy that unites and creates complementarities and synergies amongst the existing innovation instruments. It's much about unlocking the untapped potential and a clear set of actions. In an international context, there is development potential to connecting ecosystems and build on the synergetic upsides rather from a process standpoint. I think less so from a competency and competitive level, which I believe is having a sound foundation in Europe. EIT Raw Materials under this aspect is best in class when it comes to the translating of research necessities supported by public funds into innovation. We can create societal and economic impact by translating knowledge into products and solutions as well as turning scientific power into innovation and entrepreneurship. This being said, we can also bring strong business cases to the EIC, for example. In the context of the European Green Deal, our KIC is leading on circular economy. This is one of the focus areas of the newly launched European Raw Materials Alliance, which is managed by our organization, as just said. And the knowledge triangle integration is also part of this. It is our trademark and makes us unique in this sense. We believe that the knowledge triangle integration is a cogent driver which is triggering innovation and which is also essential to create impact within the European innovation area. Developing synergy is also part of our core business, if I can say so. And as a consequence, we create direct impact by also co-creation. So this means we have, for example, developed tools for brokering of talents and solutions. So bring those talents and solutions to the industry, bring them to innovation, and for bringing those exact solutions towards challenges and bottlenecks that have been expressed by our industrial partners. We think that this is key also on a multi-level dialogue with multi-level stakeholders. We create, enlarge and connect also existing regional ecosystems to the European scale to increase impact by well differentiating here between mature ecosystem and regional innovation schemes, so-called risk areas. In this context, our KIC is currently playing a leading role in boosting innovation in key areas, such as the Western Balkans, where we are succeeding in boosting regional potential and strengthen regional innovation ecosystems to increase, again, competitiveness and to reduce the innovation gap. It was been speaking about cross-gender aspects, about women, about young talents, about girls, and you might have heard Commissioner Gabriel that we are running the education program on digitalization for 40,000 young girls in this region. That's a fantastic thing, and we are not only doing this, we are combining this with a practical relevance as we are addressing the horizontal and the vertical aspect, meaning combining digitalization with education and with circular economy addressing the Green Deal. So what we do there is we are ensuring that the European citizens have the right skills, and we are focusing here not only on content, but particularly also on cross-gender bias. And our education strategy ensures the different segments of European society are equipped with the knowledge and the skills and the attitudes necessary for innovation in the raw material sector by addressing learners along their entire life cycle. This means we are addressing schools, higher education, lifelong learning, and wider society to create this long-term impact. So finally, I think I come to an end here. There is a unique opportunity also to dedicate a broader role to the KICs as federator, so-called, of the ecosystems on the level of digital technology, financing, education, and innovation. And those should be efficiently orchestrated. Supporting talents when they move out from education to become successful entrepreneurs is a key competency of our KIC, instead of letting them go long deviations to become successful on their objectives. And connecting matters here is not only our mantra, but it means really 3 concrete dimensions. It's being a pre-incubator, addressing the Green Deal, and also expanding on our existing network to support Europe in evaluating strategic opportunities along the raw material supply chain. So let me conclude by emphasizing that EIT Raw Materials, together with our knowledge and innovation network, are fully prepared and excited to supporting you, Commissioner Gabriel's concept to strengthen a European innovation area on all levels, in particularly driving education, innovation, and research with a clear objective to create impact and raise competitiveness of Europe in a global framework. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Bernd.
Thank you very much, Bernd. I will react very quickly because I appreciate a lot this support. At the same time, I must say that I'm following very closely the work of EIT raw materials. Yes, you are one of our success stories, and we fully agree that we need really to use and to promote, to give more visibility to the different examples that you already gave to us, because you have excellent examples of how really to transfer scientific results into innovation products. We have here a very close links with industrial strategy, with the different industries. We have a very strong regional dimension, and of course, the final example with education, with skills, with girls. I think that that's an excellent example. What I appreciate that now we need to change our speed, and we need to establish a common framework and passing from synergies to ecosystem, because what I would like to see is really how these good examples are integrated and how we can build some new initiatives in order to accelerate, because I'm always thinking about the close partnership that we should continue to work to establishing it between EIT and EIC, because EIT already is extremely helpful to identify promising companies, to help them. But immediately after, with the European Innovation Council, we can help them with biggest amount of funding to scale up and to grow more rapidly. But we don't have this mechanism at this stage. And what I have seen during the crisis, that European Innovation Council and EIT are awarding same persons. That means that we all have our talent in front of us, but we need really to have a coherent approach in order to help them during the entire journey and to help them to transform in a champion or in a leader. And that means that we should definitely change some of our practices and approaches, but that means, Ben, that we should preserve good, excellent examples like your work, and count on me to do this.
Super. Thank you very much for the feedback, Mariya. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I know I was just reminded by your cabinet that your next meeting is starting in a minute, or is just about to start. So
bioeconomy. I will pass to another topic of my portfolio.
Okay.
Mariya, would you like to say a last word?
Thank you. Stay in touch. And what I would like to propose, first we'll meet in December for the summit. But after, what I would like to propose is to establish a regular dialogue, to meet every 2-3 months in order to have a clear picture. What is the state of play? What are our next steps? Because I'm always afraid that we have excellent discussions like this one, and in 1 year, next meeting, we are continuing to talking about the same things. That's why I would like just to propose to have this meeting more often in a more concrete manner, and entering into different details for every one of these meetings.
We are happy to organize this from the K4I Forum. We also were encouraged in a letter from Commission President von der Leyen when she said that the Commission is very much eager to work with the Knowledge for Innovation Forum on these topics. So thank you for your participation, and thank you for inviting us to have a continuous dialogue. I think, as you said, if it's not continuous, well, it was a nice discussion, but there will be nothing really coming out of it. So let's also try here to create impact and a continuous dialogue and a continuous work to establish this European innovation area. Thank you very much.